in Michigan, because a lot of people thought Dante Moore, a Michigan kid, might be in the running to go to Ann Arbor. And that quarterback situation, certainly uncertain for next year. J.J. McCarthy has not made a decision, came out yesterday, as a matter of fact, and said he ain't thinking about this. He's fully focused on the CFP run. You got Jaden Davis, who's in the class of 2024. It's a recruit that they really like. They sent everybody out to visit him, essentially. They sent Jim Harbaugh, Jesse Minter, Sharon Moore. They sent Jay Harbaugh. Everybody went out to visit him to make sure that he was going to be around. You see some of the other guys that are in this room right now. You've got Alex Orji, who's a guy who's gotten some playing time, but certainly they don't feel like he's the guy as of right now. Jaden Denegal is a guy whose name that pops up and people like, but certainly have not seen him out there in extended time. And it begs the question about the management of the quarterbacks, where I think this is a room specifically very different than other rooms. You can bring in the top receiver, and as long as you can sell to the guys that you're going to be running 3 and 4 wide receiver sets and rotating, that they'll get their opportunities to catch the football. Same thing with tight ends. We run 1-2 tight ends. We get those guys in the game. We target them, running back by committee. You do it on the D-line with rotation. There's one quarterback that's in the game at a time. Do you think that there may have been some management of that room that goes into the decision of whether you want to recruit a quarterback out of the transfer portal or if you want to lay off on him?
Yeah, you have to manage the room, and you're dealing with egos, and the world of recruiting is just a unique place right now where you're telling a high school kid that you're the man and the world is your oyster, and then they get on campus and reality hits. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. Maybe you need to improve, maybe you're ready right now. So when I think about a management of the room, you might say, how do you balance all these egos and these personalities? You don't need to balance it if you're just honest from the jump. That will save you a lot of future headaches. You can look at some of these quarterbacks and say, listen, we think the world of you. You clearly have all the talent. We are going to invest resources into developing you, but we cannot guarantee you a starting role. We'll guarantee you the full chance to earn it and win that, but we cannot guarantee you the starting role. That may be uncomfortable for some quarterbacks, but the quarterbacks that get it, or players in general that get it, I actually think that benefits them long term.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, because I think anytime you say that you want to get a quarterback out of the portal, whether that's a guy that you want to bring in to compete for the starting job or a guy that you want to bring in to be a depth piece, there's probably somebody in that room who gets pissed off, right? It might be a high school recruit that gets pissed off by that situation where, why are you bringing this guy in? I thought I was going to be the next guy up. Why do we need more depth in the room? I thought I was going to be the depth at least to start. And so I think coaches are thinking about that. The other thing that we don't necessarily talk about that we should when it comes to these particular situations, we heard Matt Rule go out there and say how much it costs to bring in a starting level quarterback. Well, if you're going to bring that guy in, you're either guaranteeing him the job and saying that's it, and then you're saying screw the rest of the room, we'll figure that out from there. Or you're saying that you're willing to pay $1 million to a guy just to compete who might not win the job, then your second string quarterback, that a guy who was a second string who becomes a starter, is making half of that, maybe less, and now he's looking at, why is my backup making twice what I'm making? These are all of the issues that go into the recruitment of quarterbacks as of right now.
What you're talking about is politics, and it's the same thing in the NFL, where if you draft a guy in the first round, he may not be the best player, but you committed resources, which means he's the first one to get the chance, he's the second one to get the chance, he has a much longer leash because the amount of resources you invested. It's the same thing here.